The first time I fell in love with biology was when my teacher was explaining mitosis to us freshman year of high school. It was the second I looked at the whiteboard and saw the cell splitting into two that the background music started playing. You could see the halo over my head, the gleam in my eyes, everything you would imagine when you pictured love at first sight. Ever since then, I was so fond of biology that studying the subject was just so fun for me. I would have a blast digging into every little biology topic, accidentally ending up on some college-level biology website, and everything you would imagine a crazy person doing at the age of 13. Everything was great. Maybe high school wasn't that bad. The classes were kind of fun. I was proven wrong less than 5 minutes after. I was sitting at lunch with the friends I made, all happy and excited that things were going fine, when I got asked a question. The topic was on biology, and I was talking about how fun the class was when I got asked this question. And mind you, the question wasn't, what do you like about biology class? But instead, it was, what's your grade in the class? And obviously, I was a little confused, but I gave her my honest answer. An 82. And it was at that moment when my friends that I was sitting with tried to hold back a laugh that my whole perspective turned upside down. Maybe high school wasn't that fun. It was then when I realized that everything was about grades. I was told that every grade that I get at the age of 15 defined the course of my life for the next 20 years. And that's a lot of pressure coming onto a girl that came into high school excited for homecoming and football games. And obviously, after that realization, I worked as hard as I could, pushing myself to the limit and back, not to be better than everyone else, but to at least be as good as everyone else. It didn't take me long to realize how hyper-competitive this environment was. Failing again and again and getting back up again and again was so draining for me, especially when this hyper-competition is fueled and elevated by external sources such as parents. Soon, the class that I knew and loved, biology, became something that I just had to get done, get a good grade with, and move on. It felt like I lost a piece of me that genuinely liked learning and had fun learning. It was almost like I was a flower blooming on the ground that was ripped out of the soil and put in a constricted pot to grow like everyone else. Constantly comparing my growth to everyone else and trying to be like everyone else, but also trying to be better than everyone else was so stressful, all while learning the harsh truth about the people around me. When I was writing this speech, I was curious about the things other people were going through as well. And when I asked my classmates, friends, and people from other schools, I was surprised to get an almost completely cohesive response. It was always something between the lines of, Vicky, everyone is so self-absorbed, nothing feels real anymore. Or, no one cares about anything or anyone but themselves. Seeing this, it became instantly real to me that I wasn't the only person with this thought. Other people worried the same as well. You all probably know this infamous picture of this educator asking the elephant, penguin, fish, and monkey all to climb the same tree to test their knowledge. This image is supposed to represent the education system some people go through. And I understand this, but something that I believe is that this is not enforced upon students by the education system, but rather, because of high expectations and external pressures, students enforce this upon themselves. I can still vividly remember my best friend complaining to me about her burning out because of all the work she has. She was talking to me about her schedule when she was telling me, I have to go to computer science, animation, all these coding classes. And I was like, wait, aren't you trying to be a doctor? Don't you want to do medicine later in your life? And she goes, yeah, but these classes will boost my grades. It'll get me a better GPA. That's right there is a fish trying to climb a tree instead of swimming in the water where it belongs and likes to be in. Everyone's path is different because we're all unique in our own ways. A tough lesson that I had to learn was that making the most out of something doesn't always have to be productive as long as it meant something to me and as long as I felt satisfied doing it. So I learned this lesson from a teacher whom I considered much more than a teacher, a mentor, a number one best friend, a biggest supporter, and much more. This teacher was the first person who saw me past me being a number, how smart I was, and shook me to reality and saw me for me. So seeing this, what I did was instead of focusing so much on the future or so far back in the past, I decided to invest my time into the present. I withdrew myself from places I put myself in to look better on a college application or because everyone else was doing it, and did the things that I actually liked. And this, ironically, made me much more successful than before. It also brought me much more peace than before. This environment that I was put into and that I accepted myself into took away from who I was as a person. I didn't get to learn science for fun like I used to. I didn't get to spend time with the people that I love most. And most of all, I didn't get to make the most out of the present moment, the time and the opportunities that I have right now. And this was obviously a tough lesson that I had to learn. And I can use a flower analogy to describe this. All of us are unique and different in our own ways. And if we had a flower garden to compare our life with or describe it with, it wouldn't be as beautiful and as meaningful if it was composed of just a single pair of constricted roses, rather than it would be if the garden was filled with not just roses, but daisies, orchids, lilies, sunflowers, bees, bugs, you name it. I don't know much about gardening, but I do know that that is a much prettier garden than the constricted roses because of their daring ability to not just compete continuously, but bring their own creativity and talents to the table, even if it might not be picture perfect. And this is an issue that affects so many people today, whether they realize it or not. And it's important to be that one person that pushes them, like my teacher did for me, to accept, acknowledge, and grow from this struggle. For me, personally, moving forward, I could try and persist to not just focus so far into the future and question so far onto life beyond high school and college, but I can persist to try and make the most out of high school while it lasts and make the most out of my time here in this current moment. All in all, it's important for all of us to make each moment in the present that we're given the most productive, the most restful, the most happy, and the most meaningful in our own ways, so that we can all, living together on this massive rock floating in the middle of nowhere, can find peace in the present moment. All of us together. Thank you.